Hey, baby, guess where I'm taking you?
We are going to a state somewhere nearby-ish.
We are.
Okay.
We're going to go to the oldest city in South Carolina.
Ooh.
And we're going to go where the Civil War started.
Oh, dang, right in this town?
That's right. Where are we taking everybody?
We're going to go to Charleston, South Carolina.
Are you sure it's not West Virginia?
I am sure it's not West Virginia.
All right, well, let's go to South Carolina then.
Let's
Put your
do
seatbelts
it,
on.
because here we go.
This is RV Destinations Podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the RV Destinations Podcast. We're so glad you're here joining us live. Maybe not live, maybe pre-recorded. But anyway, here in Warsaw, Kentucky, we've got a couple more weeks before we head to Louisiana. We're going to do a real nice feature in the magazine about the Southern Plantation and the real Bayou. So that's going to be a fun article we're going to see in the magazine. And we're going to be doing a podcast from Margaritaville, Camp Margaritaville down there in Louisiana. We're putting all of that together right now, so we're excited to roll that out. But today we're going to be talking about a place that Caly and I have not been to. We've heard a lot of great things. It's actually kind of amazing that we've not been there because we've been to Savannah so many times. Right. We've been to, and we love Savannah. So I just know Charleston's going to be one of those towns that we absolutely will love.
100%.
Well, we've been through Charleston,
Really?
Or I've been through Charleston about 8 times, I think.
Oh.
Well, the outskirts, because doesn't 95 go right through Charleston?
I don't think so.
Anyway.
No.
All right. Why don't we get our guest on the show so she can join in on all the fun?
Yes, because she's the expert. We have Whitney O'Halek and sweet baby Iris in the background. She's like our fan club back there. She's just having a party for one. I love it.
Yep.
Now, is it O'Halek or
it's
O'Halek?
Because I used to say O'Halek incorrectly.
It is O'Halek. Yeah.
It's O'Halek.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to correct you with pronunciation, and that's just not even right.
No, Whitney was so sweet all the years that I was like, Whitney O'Halek, and it was O'Halek.
So we have a confession to make. Our very first video podcast on YouTube, we figured we would invite Whitney onto the show because she was a friendly face. I knew if something would mess up that she'd be okay with it, and we had everything absolutely that could go wrong.
Yeah.
So we were freezing up in between our cameras, and we couldn't hear what she was saying. She couldn't hear what we were saying.
And there was this horrible delay. So somebody would say something, there would be this empty 5-second space, and we're like, oh, yes.
Right. And I don't have the camera behind me this episode. We've been playing around with cameras, so excuse us for those on YouTube because we have 4 different cameras. Sometimes we use all 4 angles, sometimes we don't. But anyway, so I kept, when you go from audio to video, it's just a whole other level. It takes it from
easy peasy pumpkin cheesy to
incredible. Right. Because you've got all these camera angles, but my camera angles were all weird, and I was focusing on that and on the audio recording, and then the Zoom program we used to bring the guest on the show, and I just was so distracted, and we ended up scrapping the show, and this is us recording it like a year later.
I know, it's been a hot minute. Yeah.
So we thought that this was such an important location that we wanted to bring it to all you. So we're really excited.
Yeah, I'm excited about the fun facts that you have.
Yeah. So it's South Carolina, and I see this, and correct me if I'm wrong, Whitney, but probably has a lot like a Savannah feel. It's going to be that southern, low country type feel, very much like Savannah and other parts of South Carolina. Is that correct?
Yeah. They're like a stone's throw from each other. So they've got a similar vibe, but different in some kind of key ways. I'm excited to dig into this one.
Okay, awesome. Well, let's start out with some fun facts. Let's get going. We're trying to shorten our podcast, so hopefully
Randy thinks that everybody out there doesn't want to listen to us as long as we talk. I think you guys love us so much that you'll stick around.
Well, we did have a comment on YouTube that these 2 broads really need to be quiet.
Really?
Yes.
These 2 broads? Who's the other broad?
It wasn't Whitney. It was...
well, I would be the one broad.
I'm trying to remember. Oh, it was Ann Klump. You and Ann Klump were talking about Walla Walla, Washington. Wow. And someone made the comment. You never should read the comments.
These 2 broads.
Yeah, that's exactly what it said. These 2... and I'm paraphrasing. It said these 2 broads. He did say broads. He said something like... It was just a short, so we took a snippet of a much longer format podcast. I'm glad this was only 10 seconds because, man, these two broads just wouldn't shut up or something like that, or babbling on. Or
That's the point of a podcast. Why else do you have a podcast other than to talk?
Oh, there's people that just live to go out and get under people's skin.
They troll.
Yeah,
well, I
appreciate the truth.
It is. I appreciate the broad comment, I guess. I'm going to take that.
Yeah, I just tune you out, and then you're like, "Are you listening to me?"
Yeah, he's not.
I know
exactly.
you're just babbling.
I'm a
broad.
I'm a babbling broad.
Yeah. All right, so let's take a look at the top 10 facts, or not top 10, but some fun facts. 10 facts. It's the oldest city in South Carolina. So founded in 1670, Charleston is one of the oldest cities in the state and one of the most well-preserved historical cities in the U.S. Walking its cobblestone streets is like stepping back in time. So I was wrong on the intro. I said it was the oldest city in the state, but it says
one of the oldest in the South.
Oh, no. It says one of the oldest cities in the It is the oldest city in the state, but one of the most oldest in the South. Yeah. So maybe that's what they're referring to. Rainbow Row's famous pastels. Charleston's iconic Rainbow Row features 13 brightly painted historic homes. Probably a lot like here in Cincinnati. The painted ladies. And then out in San Francisco too. They've got that row.
So don't go too much into that.
Okay. Well, we'll skip right over that then.
All right.
The city where the Civil War began. Of course, you got Fort Sumter there, and the first shots of the Civil War fired there. Located in Charleston Harbor. Today you can visit the fort by ferry and learn about its crucial role in American history. So that would be a lot of fun just to see Fort Sumter. I mean,
we're adding this one to the list. 100%. We're gonna go there because I want to see Beaufort also, and they're like right next to each other.
But first, we got 16,000 other places, and we're going to be 98 when we get there. But we'll get there. Charleston is home to Dock Street Theater, the first building in America designed exclusively for theatrical performances. It opened in 1736 and is still active today.
Oh, wow. That's actually really cool.
Pretty long thing. It's home to haunted history. This is my jam.
This is your jam.
This is my peanut butter and jam right here. With over 3 centuries of battles, pirates, and plagues, Charleston is considered one of America's most haunted city. Ghost tours throughout old cemeteries and dungeon alleys are a local favorite.
Interesting.
You definitely got to go now.
Right. Okay. You didn't want to go until then.
Yep. And they got a cool bridge. Let's see. Church steeples everywhere, nicknamed the Holy City.
The Holy City.
Charleston's skyline is dotted with historical church steeples. The city is known for its religious tolerance and has one of the oldest Jewish congregations in the U.S.
Wow.
Very, very cool. Number 7, Lowcountry cuisine at its finest.
That sounds good because I'm hungry.
Charleston is a foodie paradise, famous for dishes like shrimp and grits, she crab soup, and Lowcountry boils. Many of these flavors originated from Gullah and West Africa traditions. Gullah, G-U-L-L-A-H.
Oh, yes.
Gullah?
Gullah. I think it is Gullah.
That's pretty close.
It's close enough.
Yeah, you can give me that one. All right, this one's for Iris. I just hear her talk in the background, so I figured I'd dedicate the next one to her. It better not be a bad one.
Right.
So I didn't even read it before I said that. Charleston's regularly ranks as one of the friendliest cities in America.
See,
there
just
we
like
go.
Iris.
With locals known for their charm, manners, and genuine warmth. So,
that's awesome.
Palm trees and pineapples. The palm tree is South Carolina's state tree, and the pineapple is a symbol of hospitality seen all over Charleston, from gateposts to fountains. Very similar to what we saw in
New Orleans,
right?
Yeah.
So very, very interesting.
And I looked it up some, like, why a pineapple? Well, they were very coveted and very hard to come by. So if you had a pineapple, it was a symbol of being very affluent and very wealthy. And so if you had that, it was like, woo. But the whole welcoming thing as to why it was like such a friendly thing is there were travelers that had gone to some remote islands, and the natives would literally hang pineapples in their doorway as a symbol of welcoming somebody into their home. So that's kind of where it all came from. And did you know a pineapple could be sold for as much as $8,000 in today's dollars?
Whoa.
Yeah. Like it was that like to do to have one.
So we've got pineapples here. So if somebody comes over, does that show a sign of hospitality? Offer them some pineapple?
Well, I'm going to sell it for $8,000 if somebody's going to buy it.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Although they're on sale right now at Kroger's for $2.49 a piece.
Right, exactly. So Charleston also has beach town vibes too. Just minutes from downtown, Charleston offers RV-friendly beach escapes like Folly Beach, Isle of Palm, and Sullivan's Island. Great for sun, sand, sea breeze after a day of sightseeing. So that's all the fun facts I got for today. You ready to dive into this fun little city?
Let us dive in. And number 10, we're going to take the Charleston Gateway Walk. First off, folks, it's free. Free, free, doesn't cost you anything to do. But tell us some about this walk, because it's not a huge walk, but it's not a small walk. It's a nice walk. And I understand it goes through some really pretty places in Charleston.
Yeah, it's like a half a mile, and you can take 10 minutes and see everything in, express mode. Or Iris says no. For everybody watching on YouTube, she was shaking her head. Or you can take your time, take like a whole hour and do the half mile and stop into every place. It starts at St. John's Lutheran Church and it ends at St. Philip's Church. And there are several other churches, and there's a library and gardens along the way where you can stop and see all the things. And it is actually, so I have a blog, which yes, I do. She's shaking her head again. So I have a blog, quickwittravel.com. And my blog post dedicated to the Gateway Walk is my number one for Charleston, maybe my number one for the United States.
Really?
Because there's not a lot of information online. And so when I went and did it, I took all these notes like, oh, there's all these things you can see. And so a lot of people want to do it, but there wasn't a lot of information when I wrote the blog post. And so, a lot of people have been doing it apparently since then.
That is so cool. And then it's something where you kind of have to time it out, because don't the gates open and shut at a certain time throughout the day?
Yeah. So the gates open at 8:30 and they close at 5.
Okay.
So which is, plenty of time to explore the gardens and the churches and all the sights and scenes along the way. But yeah, just be aware that the gates are going to be locked between 5 p.m. and 8:30 a.m.
Perfect. Well, once you're done through the Gateway Walk and you want to kind of cool off, because Charleston can get a little heated, you go over to number 9, and that is dip your feet in the pineapple fountain, which I've seen pictures of this, and it's so iconic and so beautiful. So tell us about this fountain.
Yeah, it is iconic. It is like an establishment shot of Charleston. So like if you're watching a TV show set in Charleston, odds are you're going to see this fountain because it's a massive pineapple, which is a symbol of Charleston, like what y'all were saying before. And this fountain is it's not like a swimming pool big, but it's a big fountain. And you are actually allowed to dip your feet in the water and cool off. A lot of other places, have signs posted, don't walk around in the fountain, don't get in the fountain. But this one is perfectly allowed to cool off, because Charleston, let me tell you, I was in Charleston most recently in July one year. Mm-hmm. It was hot. It was real hot.
Yeah, it gets a little, as I like to say, it gets a little saucy. Saucy.
Yes, that's a good term for it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I've seen the beautiful pictures. Obviously, the sun rises in the east, and so you can get some beautiful sunrise pictures and maybe kind of help avoid some of that heat if you are visiting, in the dead of summer there in Charleston.
Yeah, and it is beautiful at sunrise. It is worth getting up to watch the sunrise from there and get the pictures and beat the heat, like you said.
Absolutely. Well, another iconic place, and I literally feel like every single one that we're talking about is an iconic location here in Charleston. But number 8 is Wander onto Rainbow Row. And if you Google Charleston, this is probably one of the top pictures that will pop up. And it is all the beautiful different pastel colored homes that are there in a specific area in Charleston. Is that correct?
Yes, down by the water. It's actually really close to the Pineapple Fountain. You can walk between the houses and the Pineapple Fountain, but it's another one of those iconic establishment shots. You see the painted ladies or Rainbow Row, which, is similar to other places like what you were saying. There's painted ladies in other cities, but this Rainbow Row is like the classic Southern pastels, coastal vibes. Got the palmetto trees. So it's a very popular spot for photos. So, be aware that you may have some competition if you want the best shot. There may be some other people in your shot, but if you go early, you can avoid that. And, just what I have learned as an influencer, sort of, and just a travel photographer, is that sometimes the people are part of the shot. You know, sometimes that is part of the experience. And so, if you can't make it at sunrise, or, there's 100 people just like taking pictures and posing in front of these houses, just, consider it part of the shot, consider it part of the experience.
Exactly. Yeah. And keep in mind that folks listening, that these are people live here. So there's going to be cars in front of the houses because it's very close to the road. But be respectful of the people who call this home and are living and eating and working and sleeping right there. So just be respectful of that. I know sometimes people get a little cray-cray. So, all right. So number 7 is visit the H.L. Hunley and Friends of the Hunley Museum. This sounds really fascinating, really, really cool. So tell us about the H.L. Hunley, what it was, and what people can do there today.
So like Randy was saying, there is very significant Civil War history here, and the H.L. Hunley is one of those things. And it was a Confederate submarine that sank, and it was the first combat submarine to sink a warship. And it sank the USS Housatonic in 1864. So this was a big, Civil War ship, a Union ship. And this was the first submarine to sink a ship like that in combat. So pretty cool, but they did not survive. The 21 crew members actually went down with the submarine. And they were assumed lost until about 150 years later when it was raised in the year 2000. So you can visit the submarine and the museum that's associated with it when you're in Charleston. And I highly recommend it. Whether or not you're a history buff, if you are in Charleston, this is Charleston thing. And this is a significant part of the city's history and really United States history. And if you think about it, world history, because now, subs and warships are, just part of every war that has happened ever since then. So really cool, especially for history buffs. But even if you're just kind of like a casual Charleston observer, it's still worth a visit.
And it's incredible to see, for folks watching online on YouTube, you're probably seeing some images pop up right now. We think of submarines being these multi-level, huge kind of underwater behemoths. This H.L. Hunley, it was small. This was in the late 1800s. It's tiny, tiny, tiny. And to imagine 21 men in this tiny little thing, and they've got a replica that sits in front of the museum, and there's a guy standing next to it, and he is taller than the submarine, if that puts it into perspective. So this was tiny. So I think it's an incredible sight to see, something to really appreciate, how far naval advancements have come since the 1800s, but at the same time, how advanced that was for being the 1800s.
I was in the Navy, and so I could speak very confidently to this. You know what happens when 21 people go under the water?
What?
When they come back up, you have 10 couples and 1 throuple.
Oh my gosh.
That's a known thing.
Is it?
That's why nobody in the Navy wants to be, the sub. Yeah, that's what they kid about the submariners. And if there's any submariners out there, I'm kidding you, but you've heard that too.
I
had to think about the throuple at the last minute because there would be one person left out. So.
Right.
So we had to have a thruple,
You
one
have to have
thruple in
one
there.
thruple in there. That is hysterical. Go, babe.
I'm glad I can only hear you through my headphones because my baby's delicate ears didn't need to hear about that.
Right.
You know, the funny thing is, I didn't even know what a thruple was until last summer. Someone said that. I'm like, what the heck is a thruple?
Right.
And I'm like, that's a thing? I'm like, apparently it's a thing. So if you don't know what it is, you're probably better off not to know what it
don't
is.
Google it.
Especially the ladies out there, do not Google it.
Do not Google
The men
it.
will be like, okay, this could be cool.
Sister wives.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, we definitely need to do number 6 now, which is visit all the churches.
It's true.
Yeah, because Charleston is called the Holy City for a reason. I mean, there's a lot of different churches in the area of all different faiths. So tell us some about these different churches in the area, and were there any in particular that you went to and enjoyed?
All of them, because they're all so different. They're really unique, and so many of them are, 100, 200 years old. And knowing that people have been going there for that long, and it's just really, it's here again, an iconic Charleston thing to do. It's called the Holy City because of all of these churches. And so there's Christian churches, there's Jewish synagogues, there's Reform Judaism got their beginnings there, which I did not know until I went and visited one of these synagogues. So really interesting for visitors of all faiths, Catholic, Protestant, Jewish, Muslim. I think there was I went to a Hindu something or other while I was there. So just really unique. Unitarian churches. So if you're into religious history or even just architecture, it's an amazing place to visit, just Charleston in general. And a lot of these churches are on that gateway walk that we mentioned at the beginning too.
Years ago, I would have never thought to go in and look at churches. And we were in Paris, and Caly was like, let's go look at some of these big cathedrals in Paris. And you start really appreciating them. And, and I like architecture just like the next guy, nothing, extremely, I'm not an architect or anything like that, but you start really appreciating that. So I've learned to love going into churches. And again, it's more not really about the history for me. It's more about the architect and how cool they built it. So.
Right. How could how they made these massive cavernous spaces, seemingly just held up by nothing, but obviously held up by something. And one that looks super fun to me that I just found on Google, the Circular Congregational Church.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's so fun. It's like a bunch of little, almost like silos looking that were, super old and put together. So cool. Okay. So number 6. Oh, yeah. This sounds tasty and yummy. Dine well on true Southern fare. I mean, the South is all about biscuits and shrimp and grits and cobbler and oh my, it's lunchtime and I'm hungry now. So
I know I'm getting hungry too.
I know. So I know there's so much food there, but was there a particular dish that you enjoyed a lot, or even a restaurant that you're like, oh yeah, I would recommend this place?
So Pugin's Porch is really well known, and it's for a reason. It is not hype. It is actually really delicious. And I went in like the spring one time, and it was kind of chilly, and so I was just like, I could really go for some shrimp and grits. And honestly, it was the best shrimp and grits that I've ever had.
Really?
Hands down, I would have it again. I would recommend it to you. So get the shrimp and grits at Pugin's Porch. You are going to need a reservation unless you're traveling solo like I was at the time, and I was able to get right in. That's like one of the benefits of going solo. But if you're part of a couple, a throuple, if you're with a group, you definitely want to try to get a reservation as soon as you can.
You just hit on something that made me think of something. I bet you get a lot like what Caly and I do, because you're so experienced in tasting good foods across the world. If you ever went in, like friends, like, oh my God, this is an amazing place you eat. You're like,
you're like,
kind of
it was okay.
Yeah. That happens to us all the time.
And I'm like, we've become food snobs.
But when you eat all over the world and you
Right.
get to taste Italian pizza in Italy
Right.
versus Mr. Gaddy's down the street,
Right.
it's a whole nother element. And
Yeah.
so we just recently had that happen at our steakhouse in Louisville. They're like, "Isn't this the most
They're
amazing
like,
place
it's the
ever?"
most amazing steak. It's
And
so good.
It was all right.
It was all right.
but it's definitely far from the best steak I've ever
Right.
had.
And so I guess what comes with that is if Whitney is saying, "Oh my gosh, this is incredible. You need to go. You need to go."
Yeah, you need to
You
go.
need,
Yeah.
yeah, And I grew up in Tennessee. I know good shrimp and grits, y'all.
Oh
Yeah.
yes. Yes.
And notice the y'all after
Yeah,
that. That's
yeah,
pretty
exactly.
much means she's qualified.
What can I say other than y'all?
Exactly, y'all.
Exactly.
Well, number 4, now that you've got your belly all full of some amazing Southern food, it's time to walk some of that off or maybe get toted around town and take a history tour. This is a great way to see the city. It really is. And I'm sure Charleston offers a ton of different types of tours. So tell us some about these tours.
Yes. So there are ghost tours, there are Civil War tours, there are revolutionary tours. There's any kind of tour that you want to take, you can take it. Horse-drawn carriages, walking tours, you name it, you can do it. And you'll get different history in each one because there's so much history to pull from.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, even the ghost tours, have sprinkles of history, sometimes big sprinkles of history. And so it's a walking tour, I feel like, is the best way to get to know a new city if you've never been before. But even if you've been to Charleston before and you didn't take a tour, you will definitely learn things that you didn't know previously. So I highly recommend taking a history tour when you go.
Absolutely. I agree.
Or 2 or 3.
Yes, because what I love is they're also very different. We were recently in Tombstone, Arizona. We did a nighttime kind of ghost tour, and then during the day did another tour. And both were enjoyable and both were extremely different from one another. And it was literally, we did one tour one night and the next day did another tour. And so, yeah, and for such a small town of Tombstone to have 2 drastically different perspectives on the town, it was really neat.
Right.
Yeah, it was very cool. All right. So number 3 is visit Fort Sumter and Fort Moultrie National Historic Park. And I understand Fort Sumter is, you have to access it a little bit differently than you would some other forts. So tell us about these forts.
So you have to take a ferry because it is out in the ocean, in the bay. And so that is where the Civil War started, was Fort Sumter.
Wow.
And nobody died. Those were not the first casualties of the Civil War, but the first
Shots.
of the Civil War. And Fort Moultrie is also accessible by ferry, and it is on Sullivan's Island, out in the bay as well. And it dates even further back than Fort Sumter because it is revolutionary. It goes back to 1776.
Oh, very cool. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so definitely visit both when you go. Fort Sumter is the more famous one, but I recommend visiting both when you go. And they're part of the same National Historic Park.
Mm-hmm. And they're part of the National Park Service as well, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, which is nice. So if you have your National Park Pass, like Randy and I do, then that's something that's included, which is super nice. And you probably get a stamp. And like I always tell everybody, don't forget your stamp book. I always forget mine, perpetually, always forget my book. We'll get to a national park. Randy's like, did you bring the book? I'm like, nope, forgot it again. So I have to go get the little square piece of paper stamped and then tape it into the book later. So I like to remind everybody in hopes that my reminders, will help somebody one day. All right. Number 2 is explore the Battery. And I understand this is actually like an area in Charleston. So explain it to us, because at first I was kind of imagining one thing in my head when you wrote about the Battery. And then once I read into it, I was like, oh, okay, well, that sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, so the Battery is right down by the waterfront, and it's kind of a peninsula that sticks out into the water. And everything there is historic. The green space, the houses, everything there is historic. And I know. Iris has so much to say.
She does. I love it. She's like, I really enjoyed that area too, Mom.
She's like, you didn't take me to the Battery, Mom. So if you want to see how the 1% of Charleston live, you need to go down to the Battery and look at those houses because they're truly, truly I mean, like $5 million is a cheap one. I mean, like, they've got the view, they've got the history, they've got the longevity of the architecture. So it's certainly worth walking around. And you can stay at some of those houses. There's also a hotel nearby. So you'll certainly go there most likely if you take a history tour, and they can tell you more details and more stories about it. But it's one of the most picturesque places in Charleston, I would say. Again, beautiful at sunrise because of where the sun comes up over the water as well.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because when you first, again, had wrote Battery, I was imagining some kind of military fort thing, and then reading further, I'm like, oh. So, and it was a defensive wall, seawall, but yeah, the homes there are just, I don't even know if you can call them homes. They're more like Southern palaces.
So true. Truly mansions.
Yes.
City mansions.
Yes, huge city.
Kind of like Jekyll Island with those like mansions that they're called like summer
cottages.
homes.
Yeah.
Summer cottages.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that was hysterical
Like
when we did that tour.
16,000 square foot cottage.
Cottage. Right.
Sounds so cheap. But probably, who is, I keep wanting to say Rockford, not Rockford.
Rockefeller. Yeah.
I mean, his home is the largest home in the country or world or something.
Yeah.
So him having a 16,000
and
square
it was a
foot
16,000 square foot cottage is what he had.
It's certainly cozier than the biggest house in the world.
Right.
Could you imagine cleaning that?
Well, they never did.
Well,
somebody else did. I
but
know, but I mean, you literally have to have a small village of people that can do that for you. That can come in and because there's no way you could do it by yourself.
I mean, it takes you like an hour to clean the 400 square feet here.
It does. So imagine that by 16,000.
Divided by 16,000, yeah.
Woo, that would
like 32,
right.
32 RVs.
Something like that.
Is that right? I don't know.
It would take a very long time.
32 hours for you to clean it.
Ooh, no, I think it would take longer than that. We're going to go with 320 hours.
We won't ever have to worry about it.
No.
Unless you guys buy a subscription and you can use Podcast 20.
Save 20%.
Buy it right now. And then maybe we can buy that 16,000 square foot cottage. Where are we at number one?
We are already at number one.
We're being very efficient.
We are efficient.
250 strands of light. Drum roll, please.
And the number one thing to do in Charleston, South Carolina is...
tour the historic plantation homes.
Of course,
of course. And there's so many. And oh gosh. And we're getting ready to do that in Louisiana. I'm so excited. So Whitney, tell us about the ones here in Charleston.
So these are some of the most iconic in the South that are still standing. And the ones that you probably have heard of are the Magnolia Plantation, which dates back to the 17th century, so 1600s. Wow. And the gardens there are probably the most famous, like make it the most famous in the area. There's also McLeod Plantation, where if you're into old trees and just the impressiveness of an old tree, there's a 600-year-old grand oak.
Wow.
On that plantation. So imagine the things that oak has seen.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And I just pulled up pictures for both the Magnolia Plantation, and literally as you were saying just how beautiful it was, I went, oh, because through pictures, stunning. The gardens, oh my goodness, I can't even say it, jaw-dropping beautiful. Just amazing.
Yeah, really, really beautiful. There's also Drayton Hall, which is famous as well. It has Georgian Palladian architecture. So if you're into architecture, that is one that you need to visit. And Boone Hall is the one that most people will probably recognize if you are a romantic movie buff, because The Notebook was filmed there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, at Boone
Oh,
Hall.
I'm looking up this one too. Boone Hall. I'm furiously typing. Oh, yes, I remember that. Oh, that's so sweet. I love these old homes and the massive, gardens that they have with them and the massive properties. They're an incredible sight to see. They really, really are. And I'm so glad that so many of them are preserved so beautifully just to really see just what life was like back then. I just think that's incredible. So
Yeah, because it's so different from now. So it's really fascinating to go to, a plantation home like that.
Yeah, 100%. So cool.
Very cool. You want to go on to RV parks?
Yeah, let's do it. What'd you find?
In Charleston, this is pretty much like everywhere else. There's none, or it looks like there is not any in actual Charleston, but they're all in the surrounding area. There's some in North Charleston, but there's 26 different RV parks and campgrounds in the area. So we got, let me sort these by highest rated.
Because the closest one that I'm seeing is Campground at James Island, but it's there are some, they call it natural hookup. I don't even know what that means, and primitive campsites.
Yeah, so actually that James Campground County Park got really high reviews and a lot of reviews, 9.4 stars out of 10.
Wow.
Angels Landing Campground in Pineville, South Carolina. The Mount Pleasant KOA.
That doesn't look too far out of town.
Yeah, that one's 7.8 miles out of town. That got really good reviews, 410 reviews too. And then there's another one called JB Charleston RV Park. Wow, that says military only. So I guess if you're in the military, you can do that. Edisto Beach State Park got really good reviews, and so did Hills Landing and RV Park. So a lot of really good reviews in this one. So
good.
Lot of different RV parks.
And the proximity to Savannah, you could really almost stay close to Savannah, explore Savannah, come up and explore Charleston. You stay between the two, explore both cities. So it just offers a lot of nice options there.
It's interesting that Route 1 out in California and Oregon and all that gets a lot of credit, and it's beautiful. I don't want to take anything away from it. But it's also pretty cool on the East Coast. You get to see a lot of, low country, if you go up 95, essentially.
Because, this is, the East Coast is where everybody landed. When people were first coming over to explore the New World, they were landing on the East Coast. So you have so much history up and down the East Coast. We think a lot of it all being up like at Plymouth. And yes, absolutely, it's up there, Plymouth and Jamestown. But all down the coast in the Carolinas and Georgia and Florida, there's just a lot of really cool forts and a ton of history.
Well, you could start as south as St. Augustine, make your way up to Jekyll Island and all that, then Savannah, then Charleston, then and I'm just rattling it off the top of my head. You could go to Yorktown. You got the Revolutionary War all there. Then going up to up into Maryland. Well, in Northern Virginia, we talked with Whitney on a few of the Northern Virginia places where Jefferson and Washington and all them hung out. And then, of course, D.C. and then on up into Boston. You got the whole Revolutionary War and Civil War, and a lot of the different wars all kind of started there. So, but anyway, a lot of fun stuff.
Yes.
Well, that's kind of everything with Charleston today.
Yeah.
Again, I think we featured Charleston in the magazine.
We
did. I can't remember what issue that was, but
I don't remember.
It's all right. Someone that has a subscription can just Google it and search it.
Yeah.
But Whitney, tell us a little bit about what you've got going on. So have you written any more books? I know you've got a couple books out there, some fiction books. Tell us.
I do have some books out. I don't have anything, recent in the last year or so, but so I've got a Bible study for young girls called Princess Culture. And I have a spy novel, Secret Agent Girl, which I had so much fun writing. And then I have a series called the Lost and Found series. And it's a series of 7 books about a woman who lives in Nashville and has never taken a vacation. And suddenly she is forced to take all of her vacation hours within a year. And so within 7 months, she goes from her first trip ever and hating it to a 2-week long European Christmas market vacation. So kind of how she changes and kind of figures things out about herself through travel. So check out the Lost and Found series. And you could just put in Whitney O'Halek into Amazon and all my books will pop up.
Oh, very, very cool. And then you also have a very extensive website with a lot of your world travels in addition to, for us RVers, you got a very extensive library of different articles and blogs on the U.S. and Canada, too. You've got Canada in there as well, don't you?
Yep, absolutely. Yep. quickwittravel.com is my website, and you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at quickwittravel. And I have all the resources for you about road tripping, about the United States, Canada, Mexico. So check it out, quickwittravel.com, and start exploring.
Yeah, there you go.
That's awesome. I have just been sitting over here with this big old grin on my face with Iris just babbling away. I love it. It's like
she's having a great time.
She's having a blast. I love it. She is our biggest and best fan club. So thank you, Iris.
Yeah. Thank you, Whitney and Iris. And we're so glad. Whitney called me this morning and said, I don't have a sitter this morning. Do you mind if Iris comes on the show? Like, yes, bring her, of course. Most RVers, I don't know if most, I can't qualify that, but there's a lot of RVers out there that travel with families. So I think they appreciate the fact that we're all human, Sometimes you can't find a sitter.
Right.
So, but she did really good.
She did amazing.
We
did have to pause for a minute in this show to get her cleaned up.
We had a baby
blowout situation that had to be rectified.
Yeah, we got a little bit of capture of that on the video camera there, but I don't think we're going to show it to everybody on YouTube. But anyway, we appreciate you coming. Appreciate you coming on. Appreciate everything, Whitney, that you do for us, and so glad you've been around since essentially the second issues. Yeah. So we launched the magazine, and then the very 2 months later, COVID hit, and so it's we were looking for content on Boston because we were supposed to go there and had to cancel the trip, and Whitney came into the rescue.
Yes,
so we appreciate that. But all right, baby, you want to take us out?
Yeah. So we want to thank all of you out there for joining us in here today. Wherever you subscribe to your podcast, guess what? You are going to find us. So be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the RV Destinations podcast. And don't forget, we're on YouTube now. I say that all the time. So you can see our happy, shiny faces. Anytime you start missing us, go out there and check us out. Be sure to hit the subscribe button below so that you are always made aware of all the up-to-date information that we are putting out there for you. Definitely check out our website. We have got so much great free, free RVing travel content for you out on our website at rvdestinationsmagazine.com. And if you haven't subscribed to our magazine yet, be sure to do so, because if you use the code podcast20, podcast20 at checkout, you're going to save 20% off any of our subscriptions. So thank you again for listening, especially if you listen this long. We really appreciate it.
Be safe.
Safe travels, y'all.